Hi, my name is Mike Georgie. I'm President and CEO of Expense Mentor, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to deduct your business mileage and other automobile-related expenses morally, legally, ethically, and most importantly, by IRS standard. Let's get to it. Automobile deductions are normally pretty substantial for most business owners, and if you drive a vehicle for business a lot, this deduction could possibly be in your top 3. The benefit you'll get from this deduction depends on how the vehicle is titled. There are 2 different ways a car can be titled when it comes to business automobile deductions. The first is personally owned vehicles used for business. The first way to hold title is as an individual. You own it personally. If you own the car personally and you use it for business purposes, you can deduct 55 cents per every mile that you drive for business. You can also be reimbursed that amount if you own the car and the business is incorporated. There is an alternative way to deduct car expenses when you own the car. The method is called the actual method, but it is a little bit more complicated, and normally, if the deductions are higher using this method, it is by a small amount and not worth the time. To learn more about this method, please refer to Sandy Bodkin's Tax Strategies for Business Professionals CDs and booklet, or please go ahead and go to expensementor.com. Once again, that's expensementor.com. The benefits. Reimbursement for miles driven in a personal vehicle. This means that the business writes the check to you personally. When the business writes the check, it is a complete deduction, and when you receive the check, it is non-taxable to you by IRS code, and that's at a rate of 55 cents per business mile. Or you can deduct the amount off your personal tax return. Business-owned vehicles used for business. The second way to hold title is to have a car that is registered in the business's name and have the financing personally guaranteed by you, unless of course the business has its own credit. If the car is registered to the business, you can only deduct the vehicle expenses such as oil, maintenance, insurance, and gas. You can also write off the interest on any payments, and finally, you'll be able to depreciate the value of the car over the course of its useful life. Although this may seem like the best option from a tax standpoint, in many cases, the gas reimbursement is equal, if not greater, in tax benefit. What are the quirks of automobile deductions? Personally owned vehicles used for business. When you own a car personally, you cannot deduct your commute, mileage to the post office, or the bank. If you work from home, all the mileage to business destinations is deductible. Business-owned vehicles used for business. If you When you own the car personally, you cannot deduct your commute, mileage to the post office, or the bank. If you work from home, all the mileage to business destinations is deductible. Well, what about business-owned vehicles used for business? Well, if you have a business-owned vehicle that is not used solely for business, The percentage of the vehicle use must be considered income to the if you have a business-owned vehicle, if you have a business-owned vehicle that is not used solely for business, the percentage of personal use must be considered income to the employee using the vehicle. So how do I document business miles deductions? When you own the car personally, you cannot deduct your commute, miles to the post office, or the bank. If you work from home, the mileage to business destinations is deductible. Personally owned vehicles used for business. If the vehicle is registered in your name and is used for business, there are certain requirements that you must If the vehicle is registered in your name and is used for business, there are certain requirements that must be met. First, if you are incorporated, you will want to write a resolution stating that the company has approved gas reimbursement to individuals at a rate of 55 cents per mile. Second, you need to track your miles, destinations, dates, and all business purposes. Third, to be paid by the business, you will need to submit a reimbursement form to the business. Let's take a closer look at each of the requirements of business miles. First, if incorporated, write a resolution. The resolution needs to state the business has voted and agreed to reimburse individuals who use their personal vehicle for business purposes, as well as the reimbursement rate. This is a one-time resolution. Number 2, tracking mileage. To track mileage, you will need to track where you went, why, the distance, the date, and the address of from and to. Here are some other mileage hints. The IRS has said that constant trips to the post office and bank are not to be considered deductible trips. If you are using one vehicle, you can log daily trip information for 90 days and use the average amount of the reimbursement as the given amount of payout for the duration of the year without logging any other trip information. If you are using more than one personally owned vehicle, you cannot use the averaging method for proof of paperwork. You will need to track the trip information for both vehicles for the entire year. And finally, you need to have a reimbursement form. You'll want to have a reimbursement form that states the total amount of miles driven by an individual in a given time frame. This information should be submitted to the business and signed or initialed by an authorized individual. If you would like a copy of this form, please submit a request by email to expensementor@expensementor.com. And that's it. To receive a free report that outlines different deductions and how they may affect your unique circumstances, please go to expensementor.com. That's expensementor.com. I hope the information you've heard today will help you put more money in your pocket and help you save more in business taxes than you ever have before. Thank you very much.